Welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to chat with everyone today. I'm going to do a quick 16-week update, show you some bump shots, and just let you know how I'm feeling. And then for most of the video, we're going to talk about doulas, who they are, what a doula is, how they're helpful, and why I'm choosing to work with a doula for my pregnancy and birth. So let's jump right in. Trying out different places in my house near windows with natural lighting to film. So I've filmed my last video in front of my big bird, which is over here. But now like my couch is here, and this is some of my husband's artwork. Let's see, his photography here. So that's Seattle, and then that's in Alaska. There's kind of a glare, but you get it, just like the big rolling hills of Alaska. All right, so let's get down to business. On Monday, I was 16 weeks, and so now I'm 16 weeks and 2 days. The great thing about being kind of really comfortable in the second trimester is I'm no longer nauseous. I have very few food aversions, and I'm feeling so much better. I feel like I look better, I feel better, and I'm able to kind of do more. I am still pretty tired, but I think that's something that's just gonna continue throughout all of my pregnancy. And it's kind of with the lighting schedule here in Alaska, you know, with days filled with darkness and only a couple hours of sunlight, that's pretty common anyway. Prior to pregnancy, I was pretty tired in the winter because of the lack of sunlight. I'm having a little bit of round ligament pain, and that's okay because it's helping my belly to kind of round out. So I'm thinking now, and I've heard people tell me that it's kind of moving from, oh, did she just have a really big lunch, to wait, that's actually a pregnant belly. So I'm really thankful for the ligament pain in that way. And I like how it's rounding out my tummy, and that's pretty exciting, I think. It's fun to actually kind of start to look pregnant. Otherwise, I'm not really having any other symptoms, just very minimal back pain. Again, I think that could just be contributed to the fact that in the summer we're super active, and then in the winter we kind of get a little more sedentary. So I don't even really know that my back pain is associated with pregnancy, but it definitely could be. Okay, now we're going to move on and chat about something that I'm really passionate about, something that's really close to my heart. We're gonna talk about doulas. A doula, you might think that's a new thing. They didn't have those when I was pregnant, or that's not something that we used when I had my babies. Well, actually, doulas in a less formal capacity have been around for a really long time. A doula is usually another woman, but not always, who accompanies a mother or a person giving birth. Because of that, there have been doulas all throughout history. They just weren't really labeled as a doula. They were just labeled as a family member that was there, or your mother was there, or some other woman in the community who had given birth before multiple times and helped multiple other women with their birth was there. So in that way, maybe it wasn't formally titled a doula, but there have been people doing the work of doulas for almost all the history of giving birth. If you're looking for a more specific definition and less of a broad definition, a doula is kind of like, you can think of a labor support person, a trained or experienced labor specialist, and they provide non-medical care to the birthing mother and the family. So when you think of an OBGYN or a midwife, their primary concern is the safe delivery of the baby. Of course, they're worried and thinking about the mother. During birth, their focus is getting the baby here safely. Whereas a doula is going to be focused on the mother, caring for the mother, mothering the mother, and also helping the birth partner. So my birth partner will obviously be Brian, my husband. A doula will be there to help him and to help him know how to help me. So doulas can do a wide variety of things. Now, they are non-medical care, so they're not going to be taking blood, they're not going to be performing pelvic exams, they're not going to be doing any sort of medical aspect of birth, but they are going to give massages. They are going to help you get into a position where you can lower your pain, or they're going to help your partner help you lower your pain. So that can be like bouncing on the peanut ball or moving your hips to help open them up. It can be a wide variety of things that a doula can help with. Doulas also provide emotional support. They can encourage and coach you through your birth and do the same for your partner. They're offering physical, emotional, and informational help all throughout the last trimester of your pregnancy, your birth, and then sometimes even postpartum. And a lot of times when we think of doulas, we might think of it as kind of like a fringe thing, something not a lot of people use, and you're correct there. Only about 3 to 6% of women utilize a doula during their birth, but it's such a valuable asset. I believe in doulas and birth work, and they're super important, and I think that more people should use them, and that's part of why I'm making this video, because I know there are friends of mine who are on the fence about having a doula or have maybe not felt the need to have a doula. A lot of times I hear, well, I didn't need that because my partner, my husband, my spouse, my boyfriend was there, and that's great, but I know my partner is a person who wants to help but may not know how. I mean, I've never given birth before. He's never helped someone give birth before, so a doula will step in to help him with that, and to help me as well. And even though doulas seem like kind of a crunchy, hippy-dippy thing that not a lot of people use, there are actually lots and lots of research studies that show that they're really helpful to a mother in birth. So I have I have some research here. Doula-attended births are associated with better outcomes in general for a pregnant mother and for a birthing mother. So mothers who use doulas during their birth are more likely to go into spontaneous labor. They are less likely, 60% less likely, to need an epidural if they are choosing not to have one. Now, if you're going in wanting an epidural, that might be a different data point, that might be different, but for mothers who don't want an epidural, they're 60% less likely to end up getting one, less likely to need vacuum or forceps to get baby out, less likely to have a C-section in general. Again, this is an unplanned C-section. This is not like, obviously not for people who are scheduling C-sections for whatever reason. And mothers who use doulas are less likely to have trauma associated with their birth and negative emotions associated with their birth. Mothers who give birth to babies and were using a doula during that time, those babies have higher APGAR scores, which is really cool. Dang it, 12 o'clock. Okay, I forgot it was Wednesday and that the alarm was gonna go off at noon. Living on base problems. Okay, so now that that's over, doula care is also endorsed by the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. So they acknowledge that doula care during a birth can be one of the most effective tools to improve labor and delivery outcomes. So I asked everyone if they had any questions about doulas on my Facebook and my Instagram story, and then I collected those responses, and now I'm gonna use those. My neighbor asked, are they affordable? And doula care is going to range. So first of all, we have to consider that we're in COVID times right now, so that's gonna make a difference. You also have to consider where you're living and how much care you're getting from a doula. So I interviewed 4 local doulas. Their prices ranged anywhere from $250 to $1,200, and that's a wide range. But the reason for that is because right now a lot of doulas are having to adjust their services and adjust their prices because they're not allowed to be in the room with the mother while she's birthing at the hospital. And so because of that, some of the pricing and some of the services have been adapted. But let's talk about non-COVID times. In non-COVID times, what a doula could be doing. So a full service doula package would be 2 or 3 prenatal meetings where she would be not meeting for medical reasons, but meeting to prep you for birth. So in those meetings, she would be going through, you know, how your birth partner can help you, certain massages that your birth partner can help you do or that the doula can help you do during birth, certain positions you can try during birth, and things like that. Just general wellness and getting to know you. Then the doula will be with you during your birth. We live about 30 minutes in the summer and 45 minutes in the winter from the hospital. Because we live so far from the hospital, one of the primary things that a doula will be doing for us is coming to our home when I start early labor and being with us and being able to say, okay, now we need to go to the hospital because now we're seeing a serious change in things. And that's really important to us. That's something really valuable to us because, again, we've never done this before. I don't know when to go to the hospital. And I have heard through my group of friends and through mothers around base that the hospitals in town, if you show up early, they'll be like, go home. Well, that's another 30-minute drive. That's an hour there. So we just wanted to have someone to help us use our time wisely so we're not driving to and from the hospital 3 or 4 times. Also, there's a lot of data saying that first-time moms are very quick to go to the hospital way too early. And I know that I will be susceptible to that. So it would be great to have someone here in our home to say, this is when we need to go to the hospital, or this is when things are getting more serious. And then a lot of doulas offer postpartum care as well, which personally I think is ideal for military families because you're either not near your family or maybe your family can't come to be with you after you've had baby. So postpartum care is essential. They can come, some of them are lactation consultants, so they can come and help you with breastfeeding. Some of them will come bring a meal to you after birth, and lots of them just come and spend time with you, hold the baby, do the dishes, or cook for you, which is awesome. And that's really valuable care, especially to people who are far from their support group, from their family and their friends who can help them after baby. I think that for some people, it's definitely an investment. And I think for others, it's something that they can make some wiggle room within their budget. And that's just gonna differ from where you live, what kind of services your doula is providing, and it's also gonna depend on your insurance, which is the next question. I got a few people asking, is this something that insurance covers? I do think that some insurances are getting to where they might start to think about covering doulas. We have TRICARE because we are a military family, and TRICARE does not cover the cost of a doula. Now, I have TRICARE Select, and this means that I can go see providers off base without having to have a referral. So TRICARE Select covers certain things that TRICARE Prime doesn't, and then it also covers things, or also doesn't cover things that TRICARE Prime does cover. So that's gonna also depend on your insurance, but with TRICARE, I know that TRICARE doesn't cover it. However, we've been really comforted by the fact that TRICARE is covering all of our costs to see my midwife every month and to get all of my testing done, and will cover almost all, save for maybe like $100 to $300 of birth. And so because of that, we felt that we could find room in the budget to invest in having a doula, especially for our first birth. But I have a feeling that now that I'm going to have a doula, it's something that I'm going to want every time I go to give birth. Do doulas help with just physical coaching, or do they help with the emotional side of things? And I think I kind of answered that before, but I know for me personally that for me, physical coaching will only be a small part of it, and a huge part of it will be the emotional aspect of it. Having someone there feeling cared for, feeling like someone can help me, because I'm usually the one liking to help others, but I'm gonna be in a position where I'm not really gonna be able, in some situations, in some parts of that, I'm not even gonna be able to help myself because I'm not gonna know what to do. So it'll just be nice to have an experienced person in there to help me out. Okay, the last question I got from my Instagram and Facebook poll was, is it worth it to have a midwife and a doula, and what's the difference? So let's talk about that for a little bit. I will be having a midwife at my birth. That's because my primary care provider is a midwife. I started seeing a midwife in January. She has helped me with regulating my cycles. She has helped me with fertility and infertility issues, and she's really my whole service doctor. So instead of seeing an OBGYN, I see a midwife, and she is a certified nurse midwife. So she can really do almost everything that an OBGYN can do, other than, I think, a C-section? Don't quote me on that, but I think that's like a big difference. Midwives don't really usually perform surgery, although they are there for you during that. Another thing I really love about seeing a midwife is I never ever feel that our appointments are rushed. She always takes so much time with me. There's a lot of talking and building relationships and getting to know me. And it's not really like, sometimes I felt when I was seeing a traditional OBGYN that they were in and out, and I understand how busy their schedules must be, but midwives have more time to spend with you, and I really like that. So my midwife will be there at my birth, and I'm also hoping to have a doula. The difference is a midwife is going to be doing all of the medical side of things. A midwife is going to be focused on medical care and the well-being of mom and baby, whereas a doula is just there for me, really. She's just there to support me and to support Brian and to help Brian support me. Another difference is a midwife or an OBGYN will be there to deliver the baby. They usually, not always, usually they come in, they deliver the baby, they're there for like 30 minutes to an hour, and then they leave because they have other patients they have to help with. They might have another delivery to run to. Whereas a doula is going to stay with you the whole time. Again, disclaimer, COVID times, a doula is probably not going to be able to be in the hospital. I'm feeling really hopeful that by May she'll be able to be there with us, but who knows? And we also haven't chosen our doula yet, so you know, that might vary with that as well. But anyway, a doula is going to spend a lot of time with you before, during, and after your birth. And most doulas will not leave you after birth. They'll stay there with you for a few hours to help you feel comfortable, to help you adjust, to answer questions, to be there for you. And I am a person who loves that support and that relationship and that person there to be helpful. So I think it's gonna be a really great fit for us. Again, a midwife is going to be doing really similar things that an OBGYN would be doing. They're gonna be handling the medical care, whereas a doula is just gonna be helping the support. I really hope that this video was helpful to you, especially if you've never used a doula, or you've never even heard of a doula, or you don't understand what a doula is supposed to do, or you've been considering having one for your own birth. I hope this cleared up a few things. If you have any more questions, you can drop them in the comment section down below, and I'd be happy to answer them if I can. Remember, I'm not an expert. I'm not a baby having expert. I'm not a pregnancy expert. I'm not a doula or a midwife or an OBGYN expert. So this is just me sharing research that I've done, things that I've found, and reasons that I want to have a doula for my pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. Thanks again for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, you can give it a thumbs up, you can leave me a comment, you can send it to a friend, and you can subscribe to my channel for more videos sort of like this. I mean, we're gonna have some pregnancy updates, right? Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.